Is that barrel gonna... Fire everywhere! Ah! He's gone! Here we go! Go. Yes, joyous. Hurry up! No. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Loving that. Wait.
Hello, that was the hothouse flat.
Hurry up!
Coming up now is a small montage of what...
Let's do this.
Well, whatever, we decided to meet up.
Get a bloody move on. Very quickly here.
The location we chose for this titanic duel was Portugal. Specifically, the international racetrack of the Algarve. When we arrived, mechanics from Porsche and McLaren pounced on our...
Let's do this. Straight away, I can tell you that this doesn't have the mentality or the savagery of the McLaren. Because it has rear-wheel steering and four-wheel drive, it feels planted, it feels secure. And that gives you the confidence to play about. The grip is genuinely incredible. Drive carefully. Come on, turn. No, that's in the front. Neat move.
This is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Jesus. This is frightening. That's what it is. This bit is really scary. Give it everything you've got. Oh, you bad, naughty car! Jeez.
Well,
This is rubbish.
I was just thinking exactly the same about this.
Get a bloody move on.
I am here because, gentlemen, I have in the...
Hurry up! Hang on.
I am here because, gentlemen, I have in the back of that lorry something that will make your McLaren and your Porsche look like lumps of yesteryear. I cannot remember the last time a car, or indeed any sort of thing, gave me a fizz like the Ferrari.
Go! Full throttle. Oh, that's interesting.
Car, or indeed any sort of thing, gave me a fizz like the Ferrari, the Ferrari.
Go.
This, I believe, will absolutely mince the other two. Oh, man!
James was obviously talking nonsense, but the... What we have here, then, are three incredible machines which, at a stroke, have made the traditional supercar look wooden and old-fashioned. Welcome, everyone, to the Hypercar Holy Trinity.
You have excelled yourself in ruining my day. What's this? I think it went well. Oh, slightly above. Right, all set. Oh, I was born to do this. Brilliant. It's bloody awful. Gotta keep the pressure on.
But before we ended up in a £3 million crash, we decided to start the tests to...
Hurry up!
Let's make the first test a drag race using electrical power only.
Good idea.
No, it isn't a good idea.
Why not?
Here we go!
Instead of revving the petrol engines, we shut them down.
Three, two, one. I'm gonna have a panic attack. Go!
Instead of revving the petrol engines, we shut them down.
Three, two, one. We're off.
Who won that? It was me, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's not important though, is it?
Is it not?
No, it's just not relevant.
Right, right. In a drag race, it's irrelevant which car gets there first.
Yeah, yours is the better milk float.
Back in the pits, Hammond had an idea for the next test.
We've got to drive to the hotel, yeah, haven't we?
Yeah.
It's about an hour away, and it gives us a chance to see what they're like on the road.
That's a good point.
Real world.
That is a good point.
I can't do that. I can't drive the Ferrari on the road.
Why?
Well, it's not registered.
It is, got number plates.
No, that's just pretend number plates. If they register it, it becomes second-hand and they have to pay the tax. That's why it came in a lorry.
So you can't drive it on the road either.
Nobody can drive it. It's not road legal yet.
Oh, no.
Mate, that's...
Oh, that
'cause
is such a shame.
It's an hour of...
Oh, sorry, James. That's really a rotten bit of luck, because you've come a long way from Italy.
Soon, Richard and I were enjoying the world's best ever commute.
Shut up.
expected.
Close-hopping old imbecile.
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh, bloody hell. Get a bloody move on. Let's do this.
See, we've got to tell everyone about our track.
Yeah. Here we go!
It even looks dangerous on a map, because as you can see, it's the exact same
Let's do this. Take it away. First up, it's the isn't straight, so-called because it isn't straight. After the second right on the isn't straight, we're into your name here corner. If you make a mistake, there's no runoff area, it's just woods. We've called this section Old Lady's House because it's right next to a house where an old lady lives. Get this 90 left right or you'll crash into a cage full of electricity. And you'll need to get the final 90 left right as well, or you'll run into a field of sheep.
So, trees, animals, a house, electricity, and because it's in England, usually quite a lot of moisture in the air. It really is the most dangerous track anywhere in the world. The car I've selected for my first lap of the Ebola Drome is this. The BMW M2.
In a straight line as an M3, but everywhere else it is better. It feels less heavy, less cumbersome. I got back onto the isn't and unleashed 365 rampaging horsepowers from the turbocharged 3-litre straight 6. Where's my foot into the floor? Oh, look at that for a tidy line.
track was designed to trip cars up. There are fast corners, slow corners, drifty corners, and bumps. It's hard on the tyres, it's hard on the brakes, it's hard on the engine. It's point and squirt and bark and yelp. It is vicious.
But there is nothing here which has flummoxed the M2. This thing is an absolute masterpiece. Like I said, it is the best M car BMW's ever made.
You may think it's mad to suggest the cheapest M car is the best, but look at it this way. This track is a lot cheaper than Silverstone, and I know which one I'd rather drive round.
Let me get this right. At our track,
Yeah.
there's trees, animals, moisture, electricity, a house, and an unexploded bomb.
Yeah. Like I said, it's the most dangerous track in the world. Honestly, it makes Imola look like a duvet.
Yeah.
It really, honestly, does. It does.
Anyway, all the cars that we test at the Ebola-drome will do a timed lap. And to make sure it's a completely level playing field, they will all be driven by the same racing driver.
Yeah.
Clever. It gave us some thought.
How clever is that? Now, thing is, Amazon, insisted that the racing driver in question should be from this side of the pond. So we went to something called NASCAR, and we found one, and we shipped him to England, and then we introduced him to the complicated procedure which involves turning right. He's called Mike Skinner, but we know him simply as the American.
Right, there he is, looking utterly bewildered.
Test at the Ebola-drome will do a timed lap. And to make sure it's a completely level playing field, they will all be driven by the same racing driver.
Yeah.
Clever. It gave us some thought.
How clever is that? Now, thing is, Amazon, insisted that the racing driver in question should be from this side of the pond. So we went to something called NASCAR, and we found one, and we shipped him to England, and then we introduced him to the complicated procedure which involves turning right. He's called Mike Skinner, but we know him simply as the American.
Right, there he is, looking utterly bewildered.
He is the American.
Right, there he is, looking utterly bewildered. Face skitter of wheel spin, and immediately he's onto the isn't straight. through the final corner on the Essex Straight. Into your name here. Coming up to Old Lady's house, no turbo lag at all, as he hammers down the bumpy back straight towards substation. One more 90 left to go through Field of Sheep.
Amazing. Now, to make sure that the M2 wasn't on sort of the lapboard all by itself, we got the American to put some other benchmark cars, well, we call them benchmark cars, he calls them communist, around the track to see what's what. There they all are. Look. Now it's time to see where the M2 goes on that board. Let's have a look. Let's put it on. Oh.
Wow!
It's
I think it's the best M car they've ever made.
out of the way.
This week,
Get a bloody move on.
We began by lining up the three most exciting cars.
Hurry up!
Three, two, one. Away. Three, two, one.
With that sorted, it was time to bring in a racing driver to see which of our cars could do the fastest lap. Our resident American said he wasn't interested.
Let's do this.
Finished, we were interested to hear his professional opinion.
La McLaren, une voiture, je pense peut-être la plus difficile à piloter.
Get out of the way.
So we moved on to the big... Look how good it looks there.
James, you want to go and get a cup of tea?
Well, we've warmed the track.
next, it was the turn of the Porsche 918.
Here he goes! Much.
Finally, it was the turn of the psycho killer, the trickiest, the edgiest of the three. But I was so confident it'd win, I was prepared to take a massive gamble. If the McLaren isn't the fastest, you two can knock my house down.
Get a bloody move on.
Here we go. A lot riding on this. With that, back to the tent.
So, let's put the scoreboard up and let's begin with the Ferrari, I believe. Let's see what it did it in, please. 154.4. We don't know if that's any good, do we? But...
Well, let's move on and do the Porsche next. Let's have a look. What did the Porsche do it in? And it didn't mince it, it was slower than the Porsche. I told you, it's just a melon ball. It's slower than my car, which was faster than your car.
Yeah, it's 0.2 of a second, and it looks better.
Yeah, it did, in my mirror, where it belonged. It's a melon ball, and it lost.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week in Johannesburg. Goodbye!
Is that barrel Fire everywhere! He's gone! Hang on a minute!
The nearest civilization is a town called Mort. In order to reach it, you must build the contents of these boxes. You have enough food for 7 days.
Well, it's not such a serious situation. It would be a good laugh.
There must have been
Get a bloody move on.
Now, a lot of people have been... Hurry up! I think...
Let's go this.
Local people have been... These are the toys we'll be using. 3 American muscle cars, all of which have been tuned to a tyre shredding.
Hang on a minute.
These are the toys we'll be using.
Did you see that? Hang on a minute.
I think...
Right, hold.
Now, a lot of people have been saying, why has it taken so long? What have you been doing? Well, hopefully, we can answer that with this short montage of what you can expect over the next 13 weeks.
Is that barrel gonna...
It's out of the way. I think you're gonna like... Hurry up!
Local people are being encouraged to grow kale and beans and seeds.
Get a bloody move on.
These are the toys we'll be using. 3 American muscle cars, all of which have been tuned to a tyre shredding DEFCON 1.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
These are the toys we'll be using.
Whoa.
Local...
Let's see what all the fuss is about.
Hurry up!
Local...
It's out of the way.
These are the toys we'll be using. 3 American muscle cars, all of which have been tuned to a tyre shredding DEFCON 1. I have the Ford Mustang RTR Spec 3. Mr. Slowly has what's called the Exorcist. And in his whining Dodge Challenger Demon, Hammond has an erection.
To make this, they took a Hellcat I drove one before on the show and just made it more of everything. then. Noise in the city.
Get a bloody move on.
This car is tuned by Hennessy. They've taken a standard Camaro and they've given it 1,000 horsepower. They haven't touched anything else, only the engine. Wheels are standard, brakes are standard, suspension is standard, rocker is standard. It's all standard except the power. Good. Go faster. Here comes the Rin Davis head. Thank you, Dalton. It's idiotic, honestly. And yea, though I walk in the shadow of the valley of death, I will fear no evil.
Here we go! Fear no doubt. It has the muscle car credentials. Oh, yeah.
The fact is that the engine in Alan's car is a push-rod, two-valve iron museum piece. And May's car, yes, it has 1,000 horsepower, but it's running on standard brakes. This is just a little bit cleverer. They haven't just put a supercharger on it and left it at that. They stiffened up the suspension and lowered it and stiffened the anti-roll bars. So, it could do this. Oh, God, that looks tricky.
Is the Anthony Joshua of muscle cars. Big and brawny, but it... Let's do this.
Did you know mine only comes with one seat as standard?
Really?
What?
As standard, you get...
Out of the way.
Which seat do they put in as standard?
Get a bloody move on.
Sorry, so we can't do it. I'm sorry.
We can.
Hurry on! One for all and all for yourselves. That's how it goes, isn't it?
Aircon is off.
sound like you, but the launch control of this car is so complicated there's a YouTube video about it, and I have watched it, but I've forgotten.
Finally, I waved the white.
One for all for yourselves. That's how it goes, isn't it?
Aircon is off.
Three, two, one. I don't want to sound like you, but the launch control of this car is so complicated there's a YouTube video about it, and I have watched it, but I've forgotten.
Finally, I waved the white flag. And then we took a closer look at the savage beating heart of the Exorcist.
And that's a standard Corvette engine, basically.
Z06, yep.
With a supercharger.
Let's do this.
Right. Why don't you find a racetrack?
Here we go!
First, though, we decided to find out which of our cars makes the loudest noise. There were, of course, many possible locations for this important test. But eventually, we found one that was absolutely ideal.
Wheel spin, that just makes a huge amount of noise. Are you ready?
Yes.
Go.
God, that's pretty horrible.
How loud?
Well, at its peak,
Yep.
125.2.
Hurry up!
Any minute now.
Let's do this.
It has been there.
Okay, in 3, 2...
Go!
Ho, 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 ho. 125.2 to beat.
Yeah.
Get a bloody move on.
He got the hang of it.
Go. What's my score?
Why don't we just go? Come on, James, we've got to go.
Yep, moving on.
What was that?
Oh, I've wiped it.
No, you haven't.
It was 12.
Come on, what was... Why have I got this on my face? What was
It
it?
was 128, so just 2.8 more than me.
So more.
Yes.
Hold that.
Why?
Please just hold that.
Oh, I hate the victory dance. I hate the victory dance.
Good, right, let's
How
move
much
on.
is your car? How much?
98, something like that.
£98,000.
Yes.
40,000.
Yeah, but mine's better, so it's more expensive.
40,000.
Here we go! Hurry up!
Fastest racetrack in Europe. So that's where I took the new McLaren.
Hello, fellow driving enthusiasts.
Here we go!
It's called the 720S, and from any angle and in every detail, it's simply sensational. Right down to the engine bay that glows red when you unlock the doors. Yep, on the head turnometer, this thing definitely matches.
Get out of the way!
dangerous because of you. Come on, come on, come on.
Naught to 60 takes just 2.8 seconds. Top speed is 212.
Let's do this.
Everything is bigger in this car.
Get a bloody move on.
Staggering! Go, go, go! Oh my God! Oh my God! Unleash the beast! Oh, for God's sake! God, I'm falling in love with it here. This is breathtaking. Come on, come on, come on. Oh no. Staggering! Oh my God! God, I'm falling in love with it here. This is breathtaking.
is fast.
However, Although they've gone nuts with...
Let's do this.
It's light. Overall, they've lost about 18 kilograms.
Get a bloody move on.
Traction control, I think we'll go for all of it. Lots of drift available.
Your slugfest, you can switch back to comfort mode and settle down for a relaxing cruise.
That's the thing that stands out about this car. It's everything in one. You want speed, you get speed. You want comfort, you get comfort. You want to lose tyre rubber, help yourself. You want boot space, there's plenty.
Here we go!
I'm actually proud to be British today.
It's out of the way.
Today, we decided that what Detroit really needs...
Here we go!
Cadillac's old Connor Avenue factory. For over 60 years, they stamped
Let's do this.
that the God-fearing exorcist should christen it. James couldn't wait to give Hammond some test that the God-fearing exorcist should christen it. James couldn't wait to give Hammond some constructive feedback.
I just want to...
All of us then set about our practice laps on Hammond's death trap.
Get a bloody move on.
In 3, 2, 1, begin! Away!
faster. Proved myself.
Funny noise.
However, the trouser act...
Yep.
I'm happy with that, and I haven't hit any famous music.
Let's do this.
It's worse than death.
In 3, 2, 1.
Around my own racetrack. What have I done? Come on, oh no, time to play. Gotta keep the pressure on. Oh my God. Oh. Give me everything you've got. Oh, for God's sake. Oh, no.
That felt good. It felt like a quick one.
I don't know how.
Here we go! Yes, it's time for the Blue Nun.
Little pony, are you ready?
In 3, 2, 1,
go!
we go on to the really fast bit. Here we go. It is quite scary through here. Look at that for a tiny line. Drive carefully. Oh, flat out, yeah?
I know, but you'll see. I've got to get down to this corner before he gets back. Help me tip this over.
What is it?
It's organic palm oil, very slippery. It's the revenge of the urban farmer.
Into the blind bend. There is Stevie Wonder.
You do know it's palm oil that's ruining life for the world's orangutans.
Only this one.
Come on, come on. Short shifting into third.
And on that terrible disappointment...
For him.
It's back to the tent.
That's it. The race between good and evil. Oh.
Build of the demon was complete.
Here we go! In 3, 2, 1, flat out! Go! Right, your tyres are warm. Are you now ready?
What?
So are you ready to come to the start line?
No.
What do you mean, no?
No, that was just a celebratory burnout. Oh.
It's out of the way.
And finally, we were ready to go.
Three, 2, 1, go! Come on, come on, come on. Power.
Ah! Evil wins! Evil wins!
Get a bloody move on.
I think we have to agree that the Mustang...
Let's do this.
And next week, it is a Grand Tour special.
Here we go!
See you then. Goodbye.
Is that barrel gonna...
Fire everywhere!
Ah! He's gone! Look! Hang on a minute!
The nearest civilization is a town called Moron. In order to reach it, you must build the contents of these boxes. You have enough food for 7 days.
Oh, God!
Well, if it's not such a serious situation, it would be a good laugh.
There must have been 30 or 40 people in the room when the police arrived.
Clarkson!
Jesus Christ, no, I'm too close to the edge.
Yes, thank you. The 80s, a time of marvellous excess, you know, Gordon Gekko and big shoulder pads and, of course, incredible supercars, the greatest of which, without question, was this one. The Ferrari Testarossa was excess of... Questionably, the only car that could star in Miami Vice.
Go. The price of this car, when it went on sale in 1985, was £62,666. That is, as I'm sure you know, the number of the beast. When you unleash this 5-litre V12, it would do 180 miles an hour. That was an astonishing figure for the time. Slight slow there. Forward. Ow!
In fact, Enzo Ferrari loved that show so much, he actually gave its star, Don Johnson, his own Testarossa. And Don was just the tip of the celebrity iceberg. Rod Stewart had one. Elton John had one. Well, this was the perfect car for the era.
I'm afraid Mr. May has just been 86 miles an hour, or to be precise, more than the Ferrari. Thing is, supercars, to me, are all about being the ultimate. Doesn't matter what that is, but it has to be an ultimate. And this is the ultimate bedroom wall poster car. When I first saw one of these as a kid, it lit a flame in my heart. And when I saw one today, as a middle-aged man, that same flame roared into life. What an astonishing feeling! And this incredible machine came from a 86 miles an hour, or to be precise, more than the Ferrari. Go! Thing is, supercars, to me, are all about being the ultimate. Doesn't matter what that is, but it has to be an ultimate. And this is the ultimate bedroom wall poster car. When I first saw one of these as a kid, it lit a flame in my heart. And when I saw one today, the middle-aged man, that same flame roared into life. And this incredible machine came from a company that didn't have half the resources.
Get a bloody move on.
Here he comes.
Off you go.
Away.
Here comes a really dangerous bend. Oh, that's interesting. Concentrate, look for the bend. This is quite a complicated one. Go faster.
Eventually, we pulled over so we could continue arguing face to chest.
Oh, the brakes on. Brilliant.
On the line.
Right.
Performance figures back in the day. So now, finally, we can find out for real.
Three, two, one.
With their performance figures back in the day. So now, finally, we can find out for real.
Three, two, one.
Oh, God. We're off. With their performance figures back in the day. So now, finally, we can find out for real.
Three, two, one. Go!
With their performance figures back in the day. So now, finally, we can find out for real.
Oh, I feel dirty. Away. Full throttle. Go.
It was a privilege, wasn't it?
Special.
Yeah.
Couple of things I think you forgot to mention in that film.
Hang on a minute.
What?
By attacking those cars, you are destroying the very foundations of everything we love and hold precious.
And now
Here we go!
more by seeing how slowly those cars go round the Ebola-drome.
Look at that lunging and pitching there as she heads on to the isn't. Ringing out that flat 12. Back towards old lady's house. Lumbering towards substation. Just feel the sheep to go.
And across the line. She's nuts. She's absolutely nuts. Like riding a Testarossa. I wouldn't...
Let's do this.
Technical point that might confuse the viewers. You just said the raw from the flat 12,
Yeah.
which is sort of right, but I said V12,
I knew you did.
which is also sort of right because it's not a boxer, so it's a 180-degree flat V12.
Like that.
There you
Literally not interested. It's a flattish V12. Anyway,
Flattish.
it's now time to see how the Lambo got on.
Easing off the second curve on the straight. Back on the power towards your name here. just wrestled back towards Old Lady's house. Now in the damp dash towards substation.
And there we are across the line.
Brave. Brave.
Right. There's a new breed of small hot hatchback. And to find which one is best, we took the Grand Tour to that field just over there.
Yes, the start point for our test was our own track in Oxfordshire. And this is what we'd assembled.
I've brought the new Volkswagen Polo GTI, which has 197 horsepower. Richard Hammond has brought the new Ford Fiesta ST, which also has 197 horsepower.
Excuse me. Right, watch this.
And there we are across the line.
Brave. Brave.
Right. There's a new breed of small hot hatchback. And to find which one is best, we took the Grand Tour to that field just over there.
Yes, the start point for our test was our own track in Oxfordshire. And this is what we'd assembled.
I can't wait.
Yes.
Hang on a minute, hang on.
And there we are across the line.
Brave. Brave.
Right. There's a new breed of small hot hatchback. And to find which one is best, we took the Grand Tour to that field just over there.
Yes, the start point for our test was our own track in Oxfordshire. And this is what we'd assembled.
I've brought the new Volkswagen Polo GTI, which has 197 horsepower. Richard Hammond has brought the new Ford Fiesta ST, which also has 197 horsepower. James May has brought the new Toyota Yaris, which has a ridiculous name, the how do you say that?
Gruminer.
It isn't Gruminer. There's no at the end. It says Grum.
Yours is a brown car.
It's not brown.
That is brown.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It isn't. It's mushroom.
The cameramen know about colour. Is it brown?
It's brown.
It's definitely brown.
It's
brown.
not.
There you
It's
go.
mushroom.
At this point, we decided that instead of arguing about which car was best, we should do some actual tests, starting with a pursuit race.
Go. Come on, turn. No! Speed is the answer.
several laps later, both of us were still the same distance apart.
It's just occurred to me, we both have the same knowledge of this track. We both have 197 horsepower. This race may take a while. However,
Brakes are fading. I can feel them fading a bit. They do get hot.
mine, meanwhile, had got smoky hot. So, much to the annoyance of our colleague, we decided to call it a draw.
Can I just say, if this was a proper race rather than a catchy-up race, I'd now be in the lead because I treated my car properly and didn't overheat the brakes.
Have you heard this?
Get a bloody move on.
A 2-litre turbo.
Or more debossing. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, what?
A victory for the fat boy!
That can only mean that VW have got their figures wrong. Again.
This
VW has
Won. Yeah. Actually, I've got to be honest, I am quite surprised by its astonishing. Text from Mr. Willman. You idiots.
Hurry up! Once we'd explained this to James, we left the test track and began our new youth-friendly road test.
What? We've done that wrong. Oh my God!
Begin.
Stop it! Oh, flip.
Once we'd explained this to James, we left the test track and began our new friendly road test.
Go.
apart from you drinking plastic, which is evil, I thought that was all going rather well, the test appealing to young people.
Yeah, we'd talked about carbon dioxide and polar bears and expressed our support for the Labour Party.
Yeah, I mean, apart from the bit where the juicer blew up in my face, obviously it was all going rather excellently, we thought.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Mr. Willman said we hadn't got the idea at all. No. And that to really appeal to millennials, we had to somehow get our cars in the mail.
Get a bloody move on.
Yes, and then the winner would be the person who got the most amount of those pictures actually published.
I decided that what I'd do was take my wife out for dinner at the glittering Bluebird restaurant on the famous King's Road. It's a popular haunt for the paps, this, and I felt sure we'd be snapped getting out of the little Ford.
OK, right, so remember to smile and look like you really like me. Like a lot. Right. Hold my hand, there. And then we'll just stand around.
Let's do this.
To dinner with my wife, Mindy.
Jeremy, meanwhile, had decided that to get himself noticed, he'd have
Forward to dinner with my wife, Mindy.
Jeremy, meanwhile, had decided that to get himself noticed, he'd have a puncture and then get a celebrity, like Binky Felstead, to help him mend it.
Get out of the way.
You have to twiddle it so the car goes up, way really high in the sky.
Come on, get back into it.
Exhausted.
James, meanwhile, was driving a car that's never been papped, through a part of London that's never been papped, with his dinner date, historian Mary Beard, who hasn't been papped either.
And I'm absolutely delighted. I mean, this has made my month, this.
Oh, well, thank you. That's very generous.
Here we go! Get a bloody move on.
Mr. Willman came up with another youth-friendly idea.
Yep, he said...
Let's do this.
His name is David Yarrow. He's one of the world's greatest wildlife...
Hurry up!
Yeah, got your number.
Okay.
Go.
Oh, my God.
Eventually, my shot was in the can. As was May's. And so, after no work at all...
Here we go!
Anyway, with our pictures posted on Instagram, we were all given...
Get out of the way.
Quite a lot. You will notice that something that's very popular with so-called millennials...
Get a bloody move on.
Welcome, brothers and sisters, to my latest unboxing video, and this is a big one. It's a car. Meanwhile, Jeremy had decided to create a fast show-style character called David Soufflé.
Let's do this.
I don't know his name, but it doesn't matter because in a moment I'm going to run him over.
3, 2, 1. Oh. Go! And here we go. Yes!
A man. I don't know his name, but it doesn't matter because in a moment I'm going to run him over.
3, 2, 1. Begin! And here we go. Yes! Didn't kill a man.
It's out of the way. That was an impressive stunt. Here we go!
I think that gives you a 0, Hammond.
Hurry up! Yes, I do. Which moves us on to Instagram.
OK.
James Mayhem.
Let's look at this in a more positive light, Hammond. He has got 1 point.
Get a bloody move on.
Adding up. Unless you manage to find 325,000 people who are prepared to spend 16 minutes, because that's how long that unboxing video was, 16 minutes watching you taking a small Toyota hatchback out of a cardboard box, I've won.
Yes.
Here we go! Yeah, and on that terrible disappointment, it's time to end. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Goodbye!
Is that barrel gonna...
Fire everywhere!
Ah, he's gone! Look, hang on a minute.
The nearest civilization is a town called Moore. In order to reach it, you must build the contents of these boxes. You have enough food for 7 days.
Oh, dear. Oh, God.
Were this not such a serious situation, it would be a good laugh.
There must have been 30 or 40 people in the room when the police arrived. Jesus Christ.
It says those cars will not do 500 yards, leave alone 500 miles. So I provided 3 backup vehicles which catch fire and explode. I was wondering what they were.
Funny.
How did he know we were going to do 500 miles?
That's a good point, actually, because Hammond's only just suggested it.
Let's do this. I was on the open road, where we could get down to the business of enjoying our pedigree Italian classics.
Go. Well, we are mounting the power steering hub on the end of one of the camshafts. Basically, you can't really use full lock, especially when the engine's cold, otherwise the engine will explode. The thermostat's fitted in the wrong place, which leads to overheating very suddenly, and then the engine can explode. And there was a problem with the gasket materials, which causes the coolant to mix with the oil, with engine exploding sort of results.
my car is just so refined and sophisticated, and in fact really well looked after by its previous owner. It was obviously loved. I don't...
You can't get out.
We just lift it up. There you go. You just have to drive like that. James, can I just say you've done 3 miles?
It's mended for now.
Let's do this. So what's that? That third. Right, good. Third. Fourth.
There we go. Transaxle, gearbox at the back, twin plate clutch. This all round, unusual at the time, one of the best engines ever made, 2.5 litre V6. That'll do.
despite all the weirdness, I do still absolutely love this thing.
It was my ownership of a GTV6 that taught me what cars are all about. You need a personality, you need flaws for them to be human. And James May... Hurry up! That's not exhaust noise. That's an actual engine.
As James and I enjoyed our classic thoroughbreds, Richard was driving along in his purple Fiat.
Unleash 80 horsepower.
We're off. One slight complaint about the Fiat, the pedals are very, very small and very close together. And if you try and operate them with, let's say, your feet, you'll find that your feet are too big. Really, you just need to use a toe on each.
Oh my God!
Oh my God. Oh, for God's sake. Oh, God.
Soon, Hammond spotted a racetrack and suggested we have a go on it. And as we pulled up, it became clear that tiny pedals weren't his only problem.
That's quite high revs.
Yeah, idle's quite high, yeah.
Is that its idle speed?
Yes, it's keen.
Since this was actually a go-kart track, it was too narrow for car racing. So I decided we should have a drifting competition.
It doesn't work. It simply doesn't really have the power to throw its tail out properly.
Even though my Alpha had twice the horsepower of the Fiat, things weren't great for me either.
Just grip and more grip. I know Roger Moore drifted a GTV6 in Octopussy, but then he crashed into a fence and had to dress up as a clown.
In the Gamma, I was confident I'd succeed where my colleagues had failed.
Right, here we go. Lance here is one of the greatest names in rallying history. So, control drift should be second nature to this. So approach that corner, heel and toe it, and... Brake, lift off. No.
At this point, I suddenly remembered something important.
This is front-wheel drive, isn't it? What was I thinking of? It's not going to drift.
Happily, though, the enthralled local audience were able to find a solution.
What I do is I take the rear wheels off, let the tyres down, and put these...
Here we go!
This entertainment went on for quite some time.
Away.
Slight slow there. Oh, that's interesting. Right then, let's go. I'm winning. Dab of brakes.
Hold it, turn the steering wheel!
Yes,
Turn the steering wheel!
He did a thing to it.
Yes!
Yes, yes, yes.
Get a bloody move on.
Yeah, they're the only set, so we can't do it.
Well, no, we can make some.
Let's do this.
Where can the helicopter land?
Go! Unleash the beast! Oh, here we go, here we go. This is dangerous because of fuel. Well, let's go! Are you ready? Come on, come on, come on. Oh, no. Let's just try again. Right, no, that's fallen off. That could be interesting. And I am turning in. Oh no, I've got no steer.
Get a bloody move on.
Make the tyres grip properly. And then along comes Hammond with his bit.
Go.
For heaven's sake, I beg of you, drive fast.
Fast.
Right, onto the straight.
It's quite scary through here.
What was that noise? Whole car's vibrating. Yeah, that's a massive vibration. Hammond, you blithering idiot! You totally ruined this car! An inspection of the undersides revealed some grim news. That has come off. So the prop shaft is now, well, it's still joining the gearbox or the transaxle to the engine, but by a thread. And if I did anything more than rub it...
What? A bicycle ride? It always does.
Right now. Oh my God! Oh, for God's sake. Yes.
20 miles through this freezing middle of nowhere.
Hey, Richard the Hamster Hammond. Is your car warm and dry? I'm just checking.
Yeah, I'm warm and dry. You warm and...
Here we go!
The next morning, the peaceful stillness was shattered by the cry of a distressed animal.
Get out of the way!
What? Oh, come on!
Go.
Oh, God. Hello.
Yes, yes. Oh, that's tidy.
He did not mend that.
Very good. Now, I have to say, the only reason why we met...
Get a bloody move on.
Let me first of all explain the basic recipe for a BMW M5. It's a four-door saloon with a boot at the back, space for 5 businessmen in the middle, and a monstrously powerful engine at...
Here we go!
Go.
if you want it to do this all the...
Hurry up! That's just the start of the M5's adaptable.
Let's do this.
But the truth of the wagon can keep up with the ultimate sports saloon.
This car was not developed to race track. But Boss Valpina says if you engineer a car to be good at the Nürburgring, it won't be any good on the road. And he may have a point on that. Drive carefully. It actually produces 600 horsepower. That's more than you get from the M5. It has more torque too. And there's no nanny limiter. So this will do 205 miles an hour. Get a bloody move on. And then go a bit faster. Oh.
Is tauter, more nailed down, more on it somehow. So, on a track, make no mistake.
Get a bloody move on.
Very fast the M5 goes round the Ebola-drome.
Flying onto the straight there. Wouldn't look at it down. Now, plunging into your name here looks a little edgy.
really hard on the brakes for Old Lady's House. But understeer will show itself, taking no prisoners on the blast substation. All through the growing school there, just feel the seat to go.
Across the line.
It looks big, but it looks like it's heavy. It's look heavy.
Anyway, there's the lap board, and we can see the old M5 look down there, 17th place, 1 minute 24.2. So let's see where the new one goes. Is it quicker? Oh, it is. Oh, my word. 4 seconds faster.
That's staggering, isn't it?
That's absolutely amazing. Now, I have to say, we did time.
Let's do this.
As we cruised along, our Italian classics and the...
Hurry up!
And it turned out that it wasn't quite like Hammond had said. It was much, much better.
What's wrong with Hang on a minute. That's it, keep going, keep going. For God's sake.
Holy moly.
Oh, hi, the view. It's amazing. Look at it.
Here we go!
In fact, the moment was so magical, it had taken my mind off some...
Let's do this.
So, I want to just get it balanced up, and I'll see you at the hotel.
Hurry up!
It was busy in the kitchen.
Get a bloody move on.
That will do nicely. And there it is. Spaghetti bolognese.
Whilst Richard was battering and deep frying everything in sight,
In you go, my wee beauties.
I was organising the guests, who are now all here and waiting for the birthday boy.
Oh, hello, here it is. Here it is. Oh. Countach. Lancia 832. There's obviously some kind of
It's out of the way.
Can't believe it. I can...
Let's do this.
This is the worst birthday party I've ever...
Hurry up!
But, despite my problems, the sun was shining, and Scotland was more spectacular than ever. There were now only 50 miles to go to the finish point on our loop. So it felt like a good time to sum up.
Here we go!
Well, there we are. In just...
It's out of the way. Get a bloody move on.
Whatever. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time. Bye.
people hearing police sirens. Jesus Christ, I'm going to press the edge. Let's sing a song. No.
Going in hard and hard.
Okay, please. Well, they'll be pissed off.
Here we go! Get a bloody move on. Let's do this.
Sports car aimed squarely at the Porsche Cayman and the Audi TT. Here we go. The A110 is in fact a mid-engine, rear-drive sports car designed from scratch on a clean sheet of paper. It is like a cartoon car. It should come with those little bubbles saying, "Kick, pow, bam." Oh no! Danger. This whole lightness and smallness thing cascades down in a sort of waterfall of pure joy. Here comes a written danger then. The body and the chassis are made entirely of aluminium, and the reason for that is simple. It's lightness. And from that starting point, the Alpine engineers nerded their way through the rest of the car and shaved off...
Get out of the way.
So...
Hurry up!
It's like driving a feather.
Go!
The seats are half the weight of the ones you'll find in any hot Renault. The handbrake is built into the main calipers, rather than being separate, saving another 2.5 kilos. Even the stereo is bespoke, lightweight design.
Full throttle.
But even though the A110 is built to minimalist principles, you never feel like you're in some miserable...
Get a bloody move on.
Wait, but now let's see how fast it goes round the Ebola drone, shall we? Good driving. Well form. Right, let's see where it goes on our lap board. Will it go in the top 10? Oh dear, no it doesn't. Sorry, mate, that is dismal for a mid-engine car. It is.
Look, it isn't about things like lap times. I've told you before.
Let's do this. It's called the Urus, and to find out if it's any good... Hurry up!
Well, the Urus certainly looks like a jacked-up supercar.
Here we go!
Turbochargers may be a little bit annoying on the road, but here they're giving with a low down torque that they need to get up this hill.
This is the first Lamborghini to use turbocharging and the first to have an automatic gearbox. And what that combination means is there's a very slight and rather un-Lamborghini-ish gap.
Get a bloody move on.
And when it does get going, there are no screens.
Which means that actually, it's not that safe at all.
There's no manual locking differentials, there's no low-range gearbox. All we do is fire it up and then put the drive system into snow mode. God, that looks tricky. Well, it does 0 to 60 in 0.6 seconds. And it has a top speed of 189. So it has the performance you'd expect. But there's other stuff you wouldn't expect.
This car, then, it sits right at the moment where excitement stops and terror begins.
That is Lambo Land, that is. Shit.
Let's do this.
What we've done is use a snowplow to create... I had a few practice laps on my own.
Savage acceleration. carefully. Get on with it! God, that looks tricky. It is quite scary through here.
It may not be able to get as far up a ski slope as a Range Rover, but for doing this, it's better. There she is.
Now we'd find out what's what on our specially designed tram.
To make this car, Lambo's engineers had a good run in Volkswagen's parts code to the end.
Is that about?
The nearest civilization is a town called Moore. In order to reach it, you must build the concept of the box. You have enough food for 7 days. But it's not such a serious situation. It would be a good laugh.
There must have been 30 or 40 people in the room. Police and Jesus Christ, I'm thinking towards the edge. Let's see the song. No.
Going in hard and hard.
Okay, please. Well, they'll be pissed at us.